Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Kiran Kumar K, Professor of Psychiatry at Vaidya Institute of Medical Sciences and Research Center, Bangalore. I'm also coordinating this unique program called Sunday Special 60 Minutes with Psychiatry Teachers. This is a joint initiative of IPS Faculty Training Task Force, IPS UG Subcommittee, and IPS PG Education Subcommittee. We all know that the percentage of psychiatry teachers is gradually increasing throughout our country. But we always felt that there was a requirement of a special platform to cater to the ever-growing demands of postgraduate training. So this unique idea was cropped in by Dr. Kishore, and we started having these sessions from March of 2021. We finished all the southern states, and then we slowly moved to the eastern part of India. Today with us, we have two unique states from Meghalaya and Manipur, and this program is coordinated by Dr. Sujit. I welcome one and all, and I wish it a grand success. I hand over the session to Dr. Sujit to moderate the further proceedings. Over to you, Dr. Sujit.
Thank you, Dr. Kiran, and I welcome Lenin sir. I welcome Dr. Arvind, my friend, and he's from Meghalaya. I also welcome Dr. Steve, who is a postgraduate trainee in RIMS Imphal. I also welcome Mohan Isaac sir. Just two lines to briefly tell about this program. Actually, after the success in the South, I was handed over. I'm the EC coordinator of the faculty training, PG training task force, this faculty training. And actually what I found out was that many of these states had long-standing teachers. And I thought that it is important that we shared their visions, their teaching experiences in a common all India platform. And this program is really indebted to Dr. Kiran, Dr. Kishore, and basically the organization Indian Teachers of Psychiatry, or the ITOP, because they do the entire arrangement, including making the flyers, connecting, getting the Zoom link, everything is done on the ITOP platform without any contribution from any pharma house. And that has been maintained all through. This is number one. And number two, strictly a 60-minute schedule is adhered to, which consists of an initial viewpoint from a senior teacher, then a viewpoint from a junior teacher, and finally a postgraduate training. And I think Mohan Isaac sir has been a consistent present inspiration, and he is one of the main mentors behind this program. So today we have two states from Northeast. RIMS has been a very, very old institute, and we know Lenin sir as a famous teacher who has taught several batches of PGs. So I welcome Lenin sir to start the first presentation of his experiences and his take-home points. Please welcome, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sujit. It is through you that I could be a part of this very, very unique program. Thank you for that, representing the whole organizers. And I would like to give my regards and respect to Mohan Isaac sir. He's always what to call our role model, and always accessible to any one of us. And Kiran, I have met only today, and regards to Dr. Kishore. And Arvind Nongpiur is a very close faculty or close colleague to be exact. We are working together in many areas, meeting frequently, and my student and all the other participants. I'm not very sure what I'm supposed to share in this forum, but what I perceive and what I could understand from this brief interaction with Dr. Sujit is that for being a PG teacher, what should be the ideal and what are the experience gained through the last few years we are working as a PG teacher, and few points which can be of useful, which can be highlighted for our junior colleagues, or and also to learn from the program that any lacuna which we can fill out. With this understanding, I would like to introduce my institute and myself, taking 1 or 2 minutes, if you allow me. I belong to Regional Institute of Medical Sciences, RIMS Imphal. It is a central government institute teaching, and it has around 1,000 beds. And it was established in 1972. And by that time, there was another name. But as of now, it is RIMS. And we are celebrating Golden Jubilee celebration, and it will be culminated on 14th of September 2022. So within our Golden Jubilee celebration, we could participate in this unique program. Thank you for that also. And I became a teacher and associate with my PGs in the last 2 decades only. Before that, I have the privilege to work in the rural areas of Manipur, hilly, and very distinct interior areas for another 13 years. So I am very privileged to have both the ideas of an tertiary hospital and the grassroots level health facilities. Thus, I do liaise with my patients who are coming from different parts of the state and also the neighboring states. So one advantage that I have, other than my other colleagues, is that I have both the experience of facilities where there is none and where there is some. I don't claim that our institute is having the best facility, but we do have enough facility for PG training. And I do take keen interest in the interest of the PGs. I don't know I am teaching well or not, but my interest for the PGs is priority in my responsibility amongst the being a professor and the head of Department of Psychiatry in RIMS. So when I'm asked what you want to talk in this session of 15 minutes, I opted for teacher versus mentor. Behind this title, I wanted to highlight that being a teacher in the PG level of psychiatry teaching, it is more of a mentoring than teaching in the lower classes. And with this view in my mind, the first thing when we start with the young PGs, I mean, when they just enroll and when they goes out of our department, I think many of them have appreciated that they have been transformed. And for example, I will give some example. One of our previous PG was from West Bengal, and he was very brilliant, and he was conscious of health and doing exercise and everything, but he was taught only in the Bengali medium till the time he came to our institute. And so he cannot speak Hindi properly, he cannot speak English properly, forget about the Manipuri. So we took keen interest, and before teaching psychiatry, we were trying hard to teach him at least communicable medium through which we communicate. And at the end of the day, he is now very smart and he can speak both Hindi, English, Bengali, and also a little bit of Manipuri. So without that approach, only psychiatry textbook would not have been any of use in his PG practice or PG training in our institute. So now he is a good learner also, and our interest and our enthusiasm about individual weakness and the individual talents and the individual skills we are supposed to identify and we are supposed to address. That is in our mind, and our department is very small. That is one advantage, that we can be together in anything. We can share our thoughts amongst our faculties, and our approach are almost similar. So when the first 3 months or so, it is the adaptation phase of our PG students. So what we emphasize is not only in the knowledge of the psychiatry or for that matter, the contents of the post-graduation, but we want them to acclimatize in the surrounding, in our campus, in our staff, teaching, non-teaching, and even the lower level staff also. And we want to integrate him as part of the department. And I always talk to them now and then that we are a small family and you are also becoming a member of our family. That closeness, that intimacy and it's very, very useful in my opinion, and they open up gradually, and they are just like our children. And it should not be at the cost of too close intimacy and losing the respect and the regard for the teacher. That is a very, very important component in the PG teaching. In many of the institutes, I have seen that only when we are face to face, they are showing regard, but they do not respect their teachers behind them. That is not a very good or healthy sign. And our PGs, we make it a point that few things should be first in their mind, and other learnings will come secondary. They are respect for the teachers and respect for the colleagues. They used to call their immediate senior as sir or madam, and that makes the difference, and that keeps the hierarchy, that discipline should be easily maintained. And the number two, honesty. And when they are sick or when they are unable to come, sometimes they, in the beginning, tries to bluff. And I do not accept that. They should speak the truth. And if they commit some mistake, they should clearly share that, and the necessary amendment will be done by us on his or her behalf. So that is a very important. They should be truthful. They should be honest. And they should be very sincere, and they should work hard so that the assigned duty has to be completed within the stipulated time. I am usually a task master, and sometimes they are scared that I call them means I have some job to be entrusted to them. And of course, they do agree and they do they comply with that. But what I mean to say is that very, very frequently I do give jobs other than their routine learning and other healthcare activities. At the end, this makes them grow and overall, not only in the academics, but overall other aspects of presentation, and then writing of the different media, and also interacting with the media persons and the other organizational activities of conferences and all that. That is an extra gain. Then other one, next one is that how to deal with the patients and patient party. Coming from a different background, being in now the candidates are coming from all over the country. Even though we have some quota for the northeastern states, 7 states, we have 50% of them coming from all over the country. So there are difference of culture, difference of tradition. So when they go for duty, especially in the emergency ward, emergency department, when they are not under our direct supervision, sometimes they face problem, and sometimes the patient and patient party have a wrong notion why he is acting like this. So this is one very important area we try to convince them. Being in psychiatry, we must learn little bit of the language of the patient. That is one, this one extra advantage, and many of them do also. And another thing is not only the language, the tradition and culture of our people. They are soft-spoken, they are very sensitive, they are very touchy, and they are easily offended. But if they are convinced and they agree, they will be the most friendly people around. So if we are behaving in the way we do in the UP, we do in the South, I'm not saying that they are not good, but the way we deal with the people, with the patients in particular, is quite different. So that is a very important point we teach. That psychiatry is more of a social science. So we should not forget this. And even we have to read something about the local culture and tradition, and we expose them to our ceremonies in my residence and the surrounding areas, and we took them sometimes so that they are also exposed directly. And the campus around the RIMS itself will teach them if they are having a learning mind, and they will catch up from that also. After that, we can understand the level, the enthusiasm, and the dedication of the PGs. As I have said, they become very close to us, and they are becoming just like our family members. That means they have a very close. They have the opportunity to share their family problems, not only personnel and their weakness, their emotional breakdown, especially in the first 3 months to 6 months. They have the homesickness and all that might hinder in the continuation of their study. And sometimes they do have mild psychological emotional problems like anxiety, and some of them are stammering a lot, and some of them have problem at home that is deterring in their concentration and study. We usually try to support morally and sometimes otherwise also, and that seems to be very useful in the improvement of their academic achievement, and we address the challenges and the hurdles for them. Then another thing is that we try to give full responsibility for whatever small things they do, and we trust them. That makes them very, very what to call enthusiastic, and we try to not to commit any mistake because they have been trusted by the faculties. So they want to not to fail their faculties. So this is an area I learned that it is a very good for a mentor or a teacher for these PG. These are we are based on the adult learning these theories, and they learn only the things which are useful to them, and so they will always try to prioritize what is to be learned and what is not to be. And so giving them responsibility with full trust, but of course as supervision from one of us always is there, and they give lots of trust in the gaining confidence in our student. And sometimes they work just like a senior resident, and they gain confidence before completing their third year and going away from our institute with a PG degree. They are fully confident. Most of them, 90%, more than 90% of them, I'm very happy that they have full confidence. And when they go back to their respective state, they are being appreciated by their patients and their surrounding colleagues and all, that they become truly a specialist in the line they have been trained. This is one extra. How I get this idea of giving full trust and responsibility to our PG. I remember my childhood when I am in class 9. One of my teacher loved me very much, and one day he called me in the class 10 section, and I was wondering why he is calling me. And then suddenly, when I reached the platform, he asked a question. That was a question, same question he threw to the students of the class 10, and they failed to answer. And luckily, I knew the answer, and I answered that. And my pulse was racing very fast, and when I come out. But afterwards, I realized that the trust and the sir is having on me, that I will be able to answer this question. That itself makes me very, very hardworking, and I tried not to fail the teacher, in particular this particular teacher, and in general the teachers, that they have keeping faith on me. So this type of incidents is giving me some what to call idea that when we trust our students, they learn more and they try not to fail their teachers. And maybe I'm wrong. This is my practical experience, and I would like to share this one. And the learning of the psychiatry text, they can learn it from many sources. Textbook is there now, internet is there. They are reading more than us, and they know more than us. But there is a very, very good opportunity of the modern or new PGs. In our time, we used to search the hard copies in the National Medical Library in New Delhi for our thesis, and it took hours, and we could working in the late night, and xeroxing and all that type of cumbersome thing, it can be overcome now sitting in their own room and internet connection. So what I mean is that for the text and the content of the material, teachers are now in the back seat. They learn, they can have many other source of learning, but that PGs in our time, especially in my short experience, I think it is mentoring more need of the hour for our PG students, guiding them, giving the way, igniting their mind, and giving them motivation and about our particular subject. And I remember when the beginning, we used to ask them in the freshers sort of freshers meet or welcome dinner. We used to ask, how do you choose this department? Some of them said that I wanted to be a surgeon, I wanted to be this and that, but somehow I land up this. And some of them said that I got many other opportunity, but I have selected psychiatry. So for these two people, our approach was quite different. And at the end of the day, they love the subject. So I emphasize in all of them is that without patient, you will not be signing in your specialty, whether you are a surgeon or a gynecologist or a psychiatrist. So patient is very, very important in your subject. Without having patient, you cannot be working tirelessly throughout the day and still smiling on the next day when you meet the next client. So this is one. And number next point is a role model. If you are not regular, if you are not punctual, and if you are not keeping consistency in your work, the students will not be, it will be very difficult to discipline them. So role model, a PG teacher must be a role model. So I am not saying that that particular PG teacher must be the best. Nobody is best. Somebody is good in some area, somebody is good, better in some other area. But what I mean is that sincerely and honestly, whatever they have, the little knowledge or skill, it should be shared to their students very honestly and with love. And that too, it should be consistent, and the teacher should be a role model. So if I am not coming at 9 a.m. and I cannot ask them to come at 8:30 and do the round, that sort of thing is also very important. And when the faculty is quite senior, they have lots of responsibilities other than the clinic, other than teaching, and other than the ward duty, administrative and other community responsibilities, social responsibilities, organizational responsibilities are there. In such a situation, also I involve my PGTs depending on their available time and schedule and the academic schedule. I used to assign them some part of it, and I told them that don't think that it is unnecessary wastage of time. It will be helping you in the overall development of your personality and your growth as a professional. I think I have taken more time, Sujit.
Sir, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
No 2 more minutes, or is it okay?
Yeah, sir. Sir, if you need a couple of minutes to wrap up, not a problem.
Okay, okay. So I'm not sure whether I'm in the right track as the organizers have considered me to do share, but this is what is there in my heart, and I would like to share with the core group of this webinar. There is not any extra thing which I possess, but I summarize and I would like to wind up is that my students, I consider them as my own family members. If they were my sons and daughters, I would have done the same thing. And what I can give them is love, and give them some idea about the honesty, and then hardworking and patient and empathy for the patient, how to deal with the patient. And I teach them, and I also show them as I do. And I don't know when my student will share, this is the first time he will be speaking out openly about his teachers. Then we will also be wiser that we are in the right track or not. So with these few inputs, every teachers will be excellent in their field of work. And here also in a very resource poor state like Manipur, we are very lucky that we could be able to cater to the national level students coming from different different states and different backgrounds, but they are through the this one very competitive exam, and they are very intelligent, and they are very willing to learn, and we also learn from them. And being a teacher does not mean that we don't learn from the students. We have very limited time, but that is being met up by our students through their own learning and effort and presentation. One thing I make it very, very strict is that 2 weekly academic program in our department is going on very well. Even during the COVID time, we do it online, and that also helps in the overall growth of the department, and it imparts necessary skill and the knowledge for our PGTs. So with these few words, I'm sorry that I have taken more time than allotted, And this is my humble sharing. I am not considered myself as a good teacher, but of course, I'm a teacher for 2 weeks. That's two decades. That's why Sujit has picked me up. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Sujit, and all the respected members of this organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, we do appreciate the fact that rather than a PowerPoint binding up your thoughts, you have freely shared whatever you have experienced. And I can tell you it is one of the unique experiences that or perspectives that we have got apart from whatever we have the other teachers have shared before. And we have definitely been enriched, and we'll come to it at the end of the day. Also, thanks a lot for picking some time out, because I know that you were also tied up with the IMA program at Imphal, but still you have given time for our program. Thank you very much, sir. We'll again maybe bother you if a couple of questions come at the end of the session.
Sure.
And I welcome the next speaker, Dr. Arvind Nongpiur, who has been my friend, my colleague for several years at CIP. And now after coming out from CIP, he has been a faculty at Northeast Indira Gandhi Regional Institute of Health and Medical Sciences, a premier Apex Institute in the state of Meghalaya. And he has been assistant professor, and shortly, I think, about to become associate professor. Several years of experience, and he has also headed the COVID team. So I would like to invite Dr. Arvind Nongpiur to share his perspectives on UG teaching during the COVID times. Over to Dr. Nongpiur, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sujit. A very good afternoon to all. I am very delighted to be able to share this platform with such eminent people. And I'll just try to share my screen. It's not coming. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So once again, I thank Dr. Sujit again for giving me this opportunity to speak in such an august, amongst august audience. Good afternoon to Dr. Isaac Mohansa. I wish I could have interacted more with you. And Dr. R.K. Lenin Singh, sir, actually what he spoke was exactly echoed. I was just going through my mind that although I was not his student, but since being a faculty at NEIGRIHMS, being in the Northeast, we have interacted a lot. And the way he interacted with me, being such a junior person, but I could feel the warmth and the connection, the sincerity and the willingness to help in whatever ways or whatever problem I've had. I really thank you, sir, for that. And I think your speech just now echoed exactly the experience, what your student will be feeling. And I'm just like, I was not your student, but I do feel like your student also. So thanks again for giving me this opportunity. So one thing is that what I'd like to highlight is that, just a second, I'm not able to see my screen myself. So anyway, just, okay, fine. So I have been a faculty in NEIGRIHMS for almost 8 years now, and I've been like assistant professor also for quite a long time. I think one of the oldest assistant professors around. So, and I've been the only faculty I've had to teach all the batches. In fact, all the MBBS batches from 2013 onwards. So almost all the classes I have covered for them. So initially, like all these years, whatever class we've been taking is didactic lectures and sometimes, discussion, but it's mainly classroom teaching and the 2 weeks clinical posting that they get in MBBS. Being a psychiatry teacher, I do understand that like we feel that, the number of classes allotted are less, the number of time allotted to us are less, the number of involvement of students in psychiatry in MBBS is also less. Most of them come for attendance. Some of them, they genuinely they're interested in the subject, but the pressure from other disciplines is way too much for them to devote enough time for psychiatry. So this is what I feel when I interact with the students. So my interest right from the beginning was to instill interest in the subject. If I am able to instill interest in the subject, I feel I've done I've done some justice to my teaching, and I feel like I've succeeded. But I'm sad to say that like despite this, despite all these years, I can't remember any student who had actually gone into psychiatry, although many of them have got psychiatry as a subject of their choice for PG. But when the when they discuss it with the family members, many of them were discouraged not to take. And one of them, like Lenin sir might know, is one of them is like a student from Imphal. So last year she got psychiatry and gynecology, but she wanted psychiatry, but the family members did not want her to take psychiatry. So this has been like what I've been seeing over the years. And I'm not so sure whether in other parts of the countries, they have this same problem or not. But my aim was that to instill interest. And if I feel that my student has taken up the psychiatry as a postgraduate subject, then I feel I've managed to instill interest in that person. So 2020, when we just started, like the normal day-to-day work, suddenly there was the lockdown loomed. And many of the students were packing the bags. They had to go home. The administration also thought it's best to keep safety first. And all the institute resources was centered around managing how to manage the upcoming COVID pandemic. So teaching took a backseat initially. Then gradually, after things settled down a bit, then the online classes started. As you see that most of the studies have been done like worldwide, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on medical education, how it has affected the medical teaching as a whole. It's not only here in India, but I think all over the world. And you see online medical education in India is actually very nascent. I'm not so sure if there's any previously where there's any online education, although there has been some courses, but in the West, they have been used to this online platform for quite a while now. There were many, when I had been to the US also, I remember when there's a lecture going on, someone would just sit in his room and then would just enter or attend the program just watching in the computer. So this online connection or online platform in the Western world has been going on for quite a while, and most of the colleges are offering online education to the students, which actually in our country is still less. And in the Northeast, I think it's even more rudimentary, to say the least. So NEIGRIHMS, as you all know, is a relatively new institute when it comes to MBBS teaching, and technology-driven teaching has not really taken off. We do have the resources. We have a lot of technological resources in NEIGRIHMS. Even we have smart classrooms, but I don't think that we have ever used those smart technology, and maybe they're not working anymore. So, it's basically PowerPoint presentations and Blackboard teaching. Students also always prefer a whiteboard and a marker pen. They always prefer that kind of teaching when we take a feedback from them. Although PowerPoint has also been driven, has been used to teach mostly, but it's always been the face-to-face teaching that has actually made an impact on teaching undergraduate medical students. So when this had to stop, the face-to-face teaching had to stop, we all had to jump in and adapt. Initially, there was this, as you all know, network connectivity issues in the Northeast is not as good as I think in other parts of the country. Here in NEIGRIHMS, we do have a good network connectivity, but it's very, unpredictable at times, especially during the monsoon. So initially there was the Cisco WebEx, which we have been using, and the Zoom came later on, and later on we just settled with Google Meet. We are lucky in the fact that I think our numbers also not so great. We have 50 MBBS intake per year. So in a batch, there will be not more than 50 students. So it's not so tough to conduct these online classes. But still, the main problem had been of the connectivity issues. There had been some advantages. Despite the students being in their own homes, we could connect with them in far-flung areas. Classes were scheduled to be taken from the institute itself. We are lucky we had a dedicated telemedicine team with all the internet and computer facilities. So they would put the students in a group, connect to the students, and classes were arranged. A routine were made so that all the precautions like social distancing and all that were made. No two teachers were in the same room at the same time. So because of that, the classes had been scheduled, a very tight schedule has been made, and there was one class after another and continuous throughout the day. So this actually has been a problem, not for us teachers, but I think the students face a lot of problems in that part, because they had to incorporate many subjects in one day, which included all three from the pre and the clinical subjects. The disadvantages are there. Although I tried a lot to interact with the students during all these classroom teaching and all that, but it was very difficult. If someone or many of them, we keep the microphone on, we would not be able to hear anything because there'll be a lot of distractions. Sometimes there'll be like some other noise in the background. It is very, very distracting for me. Initially I was very uncomfortable, and I think till date I don't like actually this online teaching in Zoom or any other online platform. Like right now also when I'm talking to all of you, I think for me it's a bit difficult to talk, to just look at the screen. And even I had faced this problem during taking the class. I will be going on through the class. Suddenly, a thought comes to my mind. Am I talking to myself? Is anyone listening? Is the connection on? So I scramble to see whether then I ask some students some question. Can you hear me? Can you see the PowerPoint? Then someone responds, and then I get back to it. So whether it's just me or I don't know whether you all also face the same thing, but definitely, talking to a screen and talking face to face does have a lot of difference. But gradually over time, I think we have become used to it, and I'm becoming more comfortable now sitting here and talking. Initially, it was really difficult. Another issues we had is that some students in remote areas, even here, like even in Shillong itself, in our city Shillong, there's some places where we don't have good mobile. We don't have mobile connection. Sometimes the network goes off, and internet also 4G is rarely there. Sometimes you get a 2G network. If you try to on a video, especially in Zoom, it breaks, it goes slow, and so many issues are there. And there's frequent distraction and limited time. We had very limited time. The time slot has been allotted to us. We had to strictly adhere to it. So we had to actually sort of scram and try to complete. We had less time. We had to complete. Then there was some other, from the MCI and all that exam schedule will be it's been out. We have to conduct the exams. We have to get new students, to become doctors. So all this pressure was there for some time. We had a lot of meetings initially, how to do the class, how to do this thing and all that. That was in the first wave. In the second wave, the students had come back to the campus. They were there in the campus. We had also started offline courses a bit, but then again the lockdown started. But the students did not go home this time. They were there in the college itself, and they were attending class from their own hostel rooms. So again, there's another question, because the hostel where the hostel is situated, they are also even there. The network is not so good. When we ask the students about their experience of how do they feel this online for this online class that we've been conducting, so they say that it's actually very difficult to sustain the attention to listen from one class to another class throughout the day, and they admit that there's some of them they log on and they don't listen also just for the attendance. So it caused a lot of strain, and most they still prefer offline classes. So what we have learned is that in this last 2 years, it's not that like everything is nil, no classes. We still had classes. We still had batches who had completed the final exam and also now doing internship. So we have learned that online classes could be arranged in very short possible time. Most of the students, they have their own class WhatsApp groups. They have got their own student coordinators. So these kind of things have been done very efficiently from the students and also from the teachers, and also, like I said, the team, the telemedicine team. In very short span of time, we could arrange for class. And most of the departments, they had timely completion of the syllabus. Even I had just 2 or 3 classes left, which when we had the offline classes, I took them, and during those 2-3 classes, then I took a feedback again of the previous classes which I've taken. And I asked them for some extra class and all that when it was possible. We are also getting more comfortable with technology, and glitches, which were very frequent before, now has become quite infrequent. We could have Zoom, we could do meetings, we could do this and that, so many things. We could even interact with just a group of students also. Now, you see, like most of the things that when you see here, in other parts of the world, they have all these online platforms. What I feel as teachers, now I'm happy that I'm here also in this platform, like all of you, like medical teachers. We should have a common platform where now with the new CBME, curriculum coming up, we need to have all these digital libraries and all that of content where the student can learn on their own. Or we have now that OSCEs and OSPs are coming up, we should have a uniformity, some common things that to develop teaching psychiatry in undergraduate curriculum, how to make the student understand the basic things. we should have this digital library and all that, which you can keep. Like here, you see here, they're having some online courses also, which the student can attend on their own. And I think now it's mandatory for PG student also to attend, ICMR classes for at least for research. And here just today only, I found out that one online ICMR online prescribing skills course for Indian medical graduate. So these kind of online courses, they're not teacher directed, but they're just online. They have been pre-made so that the student takes a class, finish it on at their own time. So it's not necessary that they have to always log in during the class, like a Zoom meet or this current meeting. So they can log in at their own convenient time where they feel that the concentration or the ability to concentrate is the best. So we should have more of these, and together I think we can develop these things. If we have a platform, people can throw in ideas, and gradually this will improve our undergraduate teaching. So the main questions still remain: can medicine be taught online? I still disagree, because most of the skills that needs to be learned in medicine needs to be in the bedside. They need to be taught. The patient is the main teacher. So this is one thing which online class, you may bring in simulated patients, all these things and all that. But I think the real teacher, for me, I know that every day when I see a patient, it teaches me some new things. So I think this is one thing which I think medicine only online is not a substitute. And skills cannot be taught online, because skill is something which requires repetition and practice. And online will teach you certain things, will give you theoretical knowledge, but I don't think practically it is possible. This is my take on that. Thank you very much. I hope I've not taken too much time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arvind. And I think you have thrown light on some wonderful perspectives. In fact, we can come back to discuss, to develop a few minutes. Dedicate a few minutes for discussing that. Now, I will move on to the PG presentation, Dr. Steve.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible. I welcome you to present your perspective. Looking back,
yes,
I think you'll be sharing your experiences. Over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, a very good afternoon to you all. My name is Dr. Steve Cherak Armarak. Before I start my experiences, I would like to thank my head of the department, Professor Lenin Singh, for providing me the title of the talk, which I'm going to present right now. I had just decided to see it as my experiences, but then Sir Lenin told me, I think it would be better to provide the title as when I look back. It was more apt. That much of interest Sir Lenin takes in guiding us all throughout our academic days. Well, I joined the Department of Psychiatry in VIMS Imphal on May 2019. My choosing of psychiatry has been more of an impromptu decision. Being an in-service candidate and with a score of 580, I came with a predetermined decision of taking surgery, as I have been more of a lover of doing operative procedure, having completed my house surgeon services in pediatric surgery, as well as CTVS. One of the things was the lack of surgeons in my district, West Garo Hills, Meghalaya, and the greed for the glamorous side, which made my decision more firm of taking surgery. However, fate had different plans for me. Having arrived in Imphal, one day prior to counseling, I just happened to visit the Department of Psychiatry to meet a friend of mine who was then in final year. I sat with him for an hour or so in the OPD and was just listening to him speak with the patients, and I realized how much he has changed, his way of speaking, his demeanor, the way he was dealing with the patients, and how they were sharing their innermost fears, stories and problems, and how patiently he was listening to them and advising and guiding them left an everlasting impact on me. On the day of counseling, as I went up the podium and the chairman was asking which seat you want, without a thought, I said psychiatry. My colleagues from Meghalaya got shocked. Even my sister, who was the retired director of health services in Meghalaya, on receiving the news, exclaimed, "Are you out of mind?" Now, why I chose psychiatry, I have never realized it. Maybe it was God's plan, but I have never regretted it too. Because in these 2 years and 8 months, I have gained a wide range of experiences, and what I am learning now maybe would not have been possible if I had taken up surgery. Right from day one, the day-to-day experiences in clinics with complex and severe mental illness have been challenging. Even though there is a lack of faculty, apart from getting the nuances of pharmacotherapy right, I've also been able to develop my rehabilitation, endorsement, as well as psychotherapy skills under expert supervision within a supportive environment for my faculties. The training is well structured and supervised. The faculties are approachable, open to feedback, and offer guidance and support throughout the training. The department also has an excellent twice-a-week academic programs that not only allows us to extend our knowledge of the specialty, but also gives us an opportunity as trainees to meet our leadership competencies, share experiences with other trainees. The department also makes it a point to encourage us to take part in various conferences in-state or outside before the pandemic started. Not only that, whatever academic programs in the form of competitions, be it quizzes or case presentations, the faculty would be the first to encourage us to join and guide us and lead us. The reason I was able to win 2 case presentations, being awarded 3rd prize on both occasions, one organized by the IPS CME and the second by BISBA national level, I will always to my limited faculties for guiding me. I will always look back and be grateful for the great training opportunities to develop my career, which the Department of Psychiatry VIMS has provided. The department has also provided excellent opportunities and an environment that supports trainees to develop personally and professionally also. I've been lucky to involved in leadership and management and educational roles, for example, being a part of the organizing team in the recently concluded National Conference of Indian Association of Social Psychiatry, as well as being the trainer of trainees in the OST training supported by the MSF. We are also exposed to community mental health training, having successfully concluded a number of health camps in my time till now. It may realize the stigma of institutionalization and alienation from urban ethos that keep many patients from seeking help again or discontinue treatment. The trainees here have had excellent support where they have been encouraging and very considerate when taking into account individual training and personal needs of the trainees also. My personal experience with the patients within the department have also been very amazing. Unlike the commonly held view that psychiatric patients are dangerous, I have found them to be exceptionally beautiful in their one way, and I've always found a piece of myself in them, and that's where we connect. Not all psychiatric patients, as I have taught earlier, are found to be violent and unstable. In fact, I have had wonderful conversations with my patients, and many of them have played a pivotal role in the much needed change in my thought process. Some of those days when I was struggling in my personal life, I would walk gloomy into the psychiatric wards for regular mental status examinations of the patients to find a manic patient coming up to me with a funny, bright, sunny smile and a wildflower with a wildflower he plucked from the bushes from me. That used to make my day. Now, some of those days during my training, when I was humiliated by my seniors and professors for being inefficient also, I would come across family members desperately waiting for me in the ward just to thank me for the progress they see in their patients undergoing psychiatric treatment. However, there is also a share of stresses in the department. In addition to managing the busy outpatient and inpatient services, we, the trainees, are expected to participate in a fairly rigorous academic programs, as I have mentioned earlier. There are teaching sessions which include a variety of teaching formats such as test presentations, academic seminars, and journal clubs. While we are struggling to cope with these multiple responsibilities, occasionally experience an incident with a patient or colleague which used to result in stress or a mental health issue. We sometimes become vulnerable and it impacted the way we deal with each other too. Additionally, we face bullying or additional personal and family stresses also. But as our head of the department, Professor Lenin Singh always says, we are a small family and families support each other, and we are able to discuss everything with him. And as he said, and I quote, I don't think he may remember what he said that day, but he told me once, do not be put off by the hard work and inevitable disappointments. They are more than compensated for by the knowledge that you are improving the lives of your patients. Now, coming to the end, one thing what I want to be better was, what I want it to be better was that adequate attention is not being given to develop consultation labs in psychiatry, where interactions with other specialists happened, but only with us individually, providing scope for collaborative work and training. And number two, the wide variety of increasing number of patients in IPD as well as OPD, and given the limited number of teachers in psychiatry here in VIMS, who themselves may not have necessary competences in specific skilled areas in psychiatry, puts a burden on all. Quality gets compromised with quantity. And as one faculty said, it is not how many number of patients you see in a day, but the quality of how you see these patients, how rightly he said. Number three, ECT is also not being practiced here in the department. I lament the fact that I would not be able to learn about it practically, even though I have learned it theoretically. And because of the pandemic, my batch was not able to go to NIMHANS for compulsory rotation training of 3 months in neurology, child and adolescent psychiatry, ECT, and other subspecialties, which is not here in VIMS. Concluding, recognizing the ability to provide empathic care, respecting patients' privacy and dignity as essential qualities of a medical professional, and having learned much of these traits through role modeling of our teachers, Professor Lenin Singh, Dr. S. Godindra Singh, Professor N. Hiramani Singh, and Sir Bihari, in both formal and informal settings, I am thankful for them. I am forever grateful for them for inculcating high standards of professional and ethical behavior among us trainees. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Steve. And I know that with the training that you have got from RIMS, I'm sure that you are going to spread awareness, knowledge, and use your clinical skills for the betterment of your patients. And definitely, it was a very good presentation. Before moving over for comments, since I don't see a direct question in the chat box, before moving over for comments from the members of the audience, just I was recalling how, in spite of they keep on saying it's a small state, but when I have gone to Imphal 3 times and I've gone to Shillong also 2-3 times, there were conferences and the finesse and the perfection with which they were organized, the acoustics, the scientific content, everything. I think they were basically exemplary. In fact, this message is basically for my friends who are from other states or who have not been to Imphal specifically, and also to Shillong. They should actually see how the conferences are being organized despite such limited manpower. And I'm talking about the pre-pandemic days of physical conferences. And I think that is definitely with so less manpower, if so much of perfection can be achieved, it definitely leaves a lesson to be learned by all of us. And that also speaks volumes about the overall dedication in terms of teaching and patient care. And I'm really fortunate to have perspectives from these two states. And now I would be inviting comments from colleagues, seniors. In fact, I am so happy to see Bhavesh is there from all the way from Gujarat. We have Dr. Suresh Kumar Kishorim was there from the south, and over and above all, Mohan Isaac sir is there. So I would like to request Mohan Isaac sir for his valuable views. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful past 1 hour listening to 3 perspectives, one of a senior teacher, one of a comparatively less senior teacher, and one of a senior postgraduate. I can also speak with a much greater confidence, as our moderator said, Sujit said, he said that he has visited Shillong and Imphal, and if people have not visited, they should go there to see the finesse with which various things are conducted. I have visited both places before, but most recently, just about less than 3 weeks ago, I was in Imphal for 3 days, attending physically the Indian Association of Social Psychiatry National Conference organized by the Regional Institute of Medical Sciences. So I agree with whatever Sujit said. It was a hybrid conference. It's not the best of times to hold a physical conference. In fact, I myself had I was invited by the IASP secretary. He said it's a hybrid conference. If you don't want to come, we'll make facilities for you to present. Many invited speakers are doing that, but we would like you to come. Dr. Verghese Punnus is a secretary, and he's somebody whom I have known for a long time. But then I asked him, will anybody be going? I shouldn't find myself foolish, troubling the organizers, physically going there. He said, no, I'm going. The whole, the committee, the office bearers of the IASP will be there. So I decided to go. It was an extremely, and since I must also add that since my wife had never gone to that part of the country, she has gone to Meghalaya. She used to go as an examiner to the Agriculture University, not in Shillong, but from Shillong she had to go to some other place. So she knows that place. But Imphal she didn't know, so I said, you come along, we'll go. It was an extremely pleasant experience. Of course, conferences, when you talk about pleasant experience, you talk about the hospitality, you talk about the host, etc. That is not what I want to say. I want to say in connection with our talk today, that is Dr. Lenin Singh talked about teacher versus mentor, very, very personal experience. I think Sujit has already made an observation that it was much more effective because he didn't use a PowerPoint. He talked from his heart. He said, I would like to highlight few of the highlights of what he said. First, he said, unlike many other postgraduate teachers in the country, which I am familiar with, He said, I worked for 13 years in the rural areas where there's no services. Then I came into academics. Last 20 years, I've been a teacher. So where there is none to where there is not everything but some. This kind of an experience is a very, very rich experience. If you have been trained full time in a big institute, you had your post graduation in that institute because you are doing very well, you get selected, you join as a faculty. Unfortunately, you will know how tertiary institutes are run, how such places with a lot of facilities are run. You will have very, very little experience of what the real India is, what the real rural areas is. And that is why in NEIGRIHMS many years ago only we introduced a community psychiatry postings, etc., etc. So here the teacher comes from that kind of an experience. Then of course he said, I don't know whether I'm a good teacher, but this is what I do. I mean, I'm not focusing only on, he said something which is again very important these days. You know, you want to learn psychiatry, you don't have to spend 3 years with somebody. You, of course, you have to see patients, they're very important, but you can learn psychiatry from textbooks, online, this, that, etc. So he said that it is not just that, but it is the other, development of your character, your leadership training, how to talk to patients, families, how to talk to the media. And I want to highlight one thing, something which he said with great conviction and great confidence. It is not something we hear very much these days in our country, unfortunately. Forget about medical profession, forget about health sciences, forget about higher education, the whole country. He said, I am very clear about honesty. I want my, students to say the truth. If you are not come, don't bluff. I had this, I had that. And people who are amongst the audience who are teachers, no, I work for 30 plus years in NEIGRIHMS. On the day when you have outpatient, when that is a day when in NEIGRIHMS, the outpatient days are very crowded. So many people come. And that is a day, unfortunately, in the men's hostel, the breakfast is served late. That is the day, unfortunately, some people get gastroenteritis or food poisoning, etc. I'm not trivializing it, but the point which Dr. Lenin Singh said, I don't want my postgraduates to bluff and get away with. I insist on honesty. And he said he has tried to be a role model. Now, I don't want to go into the details. I can give another talk because I was inspired by listening to all the 3 talks. I know whatever he said is true because I said I went for the conference. So I was wondering, will there be people from South? Will there be people from North, etc., etc.? Of course, the Savita was there, Dr. Punnuz was there, Dr. Pratapchar, they're all office bearers, etc. What I want to say is many other people whom I got introduced to or whom I met with during lunchtime and dinner time, where many of them were Dr. Lenin Singh's students who are now passed out, gone to other places, Tripura, other places, nearby places, etc., etc., but who have come because of their great regard and respect for their mentor and teacher. They came, not because they were great members of the IASP, nothing, but it was their alma mater. It was a regard for their teacher and the institution, which I experienced. I spoke to several people. I must also say, he mentioned about something that we are not only teaching psychiatry, we are not only giving them leadership skills, other skills, other kind of finer skills. He talked about talking to media and all that. But we also, since he said that 50% of the students in that regional institute, it's a governmental institute, come from all over the country, from other countries, other not countries, other states and other districts. He said 50% of the students are there. Now, I must tell you another personal experience. This is again, I think, a current PG or may have finished young girl who came and talked to me. Because she is from Kerala. And then during the conversation with me, she was talking to some other PGs in the local language. I said, I was surprised. I was shocked. It's a difficult language. I mean, if you're from Kerala, Malayalam, and you learn Tamil or Kannada, that is not a big thing. Because they are adjoining states, you're exposed to it. It's similar languages, they are Dravidian languages. This girl was very fluently talking in Manipuri language. I also met a couple of other people who are not from that state, but who are involved in the department, who are talking the language. This I know Dr. Lenin Singh was saying that we teach them the culture, we teach them the traditions, expose them to. So the point I would like to highlight is all teachers who want to be good teachers and mentors, be a role model. They are learning by not, your lecture on treatment-resistant schizophrenia or some other thing, or the latest neurobiology that they can read. Bright students read from textbooks, but they learn from your character, your role model, and you are the walking teacher. And that is a point which Lenin Singh highlighted. I fully support that. I thoroughly enjoy. Now, Dr. Arvind's talk, I have visited long time ago Shillong. I didn't know very much. I know that this regional institute named after Indira Gandhi is one of the prominent institutes. I didn't know, as far as I know, there was many years ago when it started, there was no department. I also know a little bit about Shillong. One of my very dear close friends lives there, and I have come and visited his house. I had dinner with him. I'm referring to Dr. Sandy Sam. I haven't met him for a long time. But the point I want to mention is, it's a one-man department. As he was talking, and when he said one-man department, I Googled to see what are the facilities. I learned that the institute started for many years. They didn't have a department of psychiatry. Psychiatry was part of Department of Medicine. I think he joined the department. He is the head and tail of the department. He is the sole person. He is the head of the department. I note from the website, which I looked into 10 minutes ago, that he only has 2 senior residents, no other faculty. But I'm surprised at the way, the amount of work he does. Of course, he is very modest. He says we have only 50 students, which is true. The government medical college in Bangalore probably has 150 students or 200 students. But the talk was based on practical experience of online teaching, etc. He said that there were difficulties, but he has come, how he has overcome, and now we are talking on the online Zoom. I enjoyed your, one of the reasons why the ITOPS and the Minds United started some of these programs is aimed at these kinds of small one-person department, two-person department. My impression is that Arvind is a very highly motivated person. Fortunately, unfortunately, in many other one-person department, two-person departments, they have a lot of clinical work, they have lots of other things. They may not be very highly motivated teachers. And that's why this program, we hopefully, although many people are not attending this, I know very well that this is recorded, it is put on the ITOPS website, people go and watch at different points in time. So thank you very much, Arvind, for telling us how you can get across the online problem. At least things are slowly moving. I mean, I myself went to Imphal. This was a hybrid conference. There were many people who spoke from the platform. There were many people who spoke on the screen. So maybe we don't have to, but we don't know. New mutants are coming. And lastly, I want to talk about Steve. Again, the transformation. He says how definite he was that he wanted to become a surgeon. Probably surgery lost a great star. Perhaps he has fine fingers. He could have been a great surgeon if he, but again, fortunately, perhaps, he went to see his friend, whom he knew very well for a long time. He knew that this friend is, he's only doing this, etc., because they must have studied together. I don't know. But he says, I went to have a chat with him just to say hello. I have come for my PG counseling. He probably had good marks. He could have got whatever he wanted. But he says that he saw his friend transform, talking to the patient. And this is what good psychiatric training can do to people. I mean, this is again an example of the role model that I was talking. Somebody was convinced who wanted to do, many people said, Arvind said none of his students have taken up psychiatry. I want to tell him, please don't lose interest in teaching psychiatry because nobody took up psychiatry. I don't think the aim of teaching psychiatry to medical students primarily should be to make them psychiatrists, but should be to make them people sensitive to emotional aspects of other health aspects. You know that everything has an emotional aspect, mind and body. So if none of them have become psychiatrists, doesn't matter. They would have become better doctors because they have been trained by you in psychiatry. Coming back to Steve, he wanted to do psychiatry. what surgery lost has been psychiatrist's gain. I have no doubts to say that he will be a very sensitive psychiatrist wherever he goes and works. I want to end my submission by wishing good luck to Arvind. I'm sure you will soon get your promotion. He said 8 years he has worked as an assistant professor. That is too long. 4 years, 5 years. But you know, governments, they do whatever they want. You know, you will. I hope you will get the promotion, and I would like to receive a mail from you when you get the promotion.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, sir.
Steve, my best wishes. You perhaps have not taken your degree. You might be going in for exam. I met several students when I came to Imphal saying that we have exam in 2 months, 3 months. If you are not yet passed the exam, wish you all the best for the exam. And thank you back to Sujit. I've taken a little extra time because I was touched and moved by all the three speakers, the sincerity and the honesty with which they spoke. No slides, not to impress people, but with great conviction. And that was, you know, transferred across the Zoom, and that is why it took some time. Sorry, and back to you, Sujit.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for, as usual, providing a total overview of things and your valuable comments. I can see a question. I think it's for Dr. Arvind from Dr. Kiran. Dr. Arvind, sir, how challenging is implementing CBME, that is curriculum-based medical education at your place? So that's a question from Dr. Kiran Kumar to Dr. Arvind.
So regarding CBME, we will be starting CBME. We have not started CBME yet. The two postings which has been supposed to be clinical posting, that is pre-theory clinical posting, that was during the pandemic. So we missed that clinical posting. But I think from next year, beginning of next year, we will be starting with the batch who will be starting CBME. We are now in the process. The institute has constituted a committee where they will look into all the all the integration, whether vertical or horizontal integration, how to go about it. They'll make and they'll form proper, a schedule, and that's how we'll go about it. But as of now, I'm still yet in the process. That's why I ask that if we can have a common platform to prepare all these small things, where there's uniformity in teaching all over the country. I'll prepare something else. Someone else will be teaching in another way. So this kind of things may cause some problems when the students' way of learning, when they interact with the other colleagues from other colleges. So that's why I was requesting that, if we have some platform where there's uniformity, I think it'll help all of us as teachers and the students in particular.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arvind. We have just time for one quick comment in case anyone volunteers, if anyone wishes to make any comment from the audience. Dr. Kishore or anybody else, would you like to say a few lines?
No, I really enjoyed, and I would like to echo what Professor Mohan Isaac said about the three generations who spoke on this, and it's a great pleasure to see people from Northeast on the platform, which connects with the rest of India. Thank you, Dr. Sujit, for making this arrangement. And I really appreciate Dr. Arvind's efforts to manage the teaching of psychiatry in times of pandemic and bringing new insight and how we can adapt and enhance their skill. That will also go a long way. Thank you for the wonderful session. This is from my end.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore, the main architect of this whole initiative. And I would like to reiterate that all those who have participated have enriched with the program with their views. For your information, there is a YouTube channel of this program, Sunday special program. So you can actually log in and watch the videos of different institutes which have been done before, including from South or from other parts of India. And thank you very much.
Can I take 1 second?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, please.
I would like to thank Sir Mohan Isaac for the comments from his heart, and this is motivating us to continue our sincere work. And thank you very much, sir. Be a mentor of all of us. And thank you, Sujit, and all other colleagues who are organizing this. It's a wonderful session, and I would like to congratulate Arvind Nongpiur also, and wish all the best for my student, beloved student, Steve Sarkhel. He is my one of my best student. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And with this, I have come to the end of this edition of Sunday Special. We'll come up with other states on subsequent Sundays. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Sujit. So we'll be winding up this program. Thank you all the speakers. We'll catch up with the next session on probably the next in the next coming year, January. We'll catch up and we'll keep you informed about the next program. Thank you, Dr. Lenin. Thank you, Dr. Arvind.
Thank you.
Sure. Bye.